Hey everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back. So my name is Katie if you're new, and today I'm going to be talking about my 5 favorite fall palettes that you probably already own. None of these are new to the market. I've had all of these for quite a while and they just give me all the warm and cozy fall vibes. And I figured that since my eyeshadow look is very much giving me the human version of pumpkin spice, today felt like an appropriate time to film this. I'm gonna try to get this up before December so I can still cling on to the last vestiges of fall content. Fall is my favorite, but it's been a very weird one. It has been so unseasonably warm here on the East Coast up until about last week when overnight we just dropped from being like 17 degrees to 6 degrees. My brain is really struggling to compute the fact that it has been so warm with the time change now that it's getting dark at 4 p.m. If you do notice my lighting changing, that would be why. 4 p.m. really did sneak up on me today as it does most days, so just wanted to put that out there. But I have my stack of palettes and I wanted to go through them in no particular order. So first up, I think we need to start with sort of the OG fall palette, Modern Renaissance. Now I am like super late to the game on this one. I picked this one up about a year ago, but I have been really enjoying it. I think that this is just very fall appropriate to me. I've been reaching into this one fairly often for like work appropriate looks, but I think that these berries, the reds and the oranges are just perfect for fall. And Antique Bronze over here gives me very much hot chocolate vibes. So I have been really enjoying reaching for this one recently, and know that I definitely will continue throughout the rest of the fall and winter season. Next up, if I had to pick a palette that embodied October to me, I think it would be this one. This one is reasonably new to my collection, but I have been loving it a whole lot, and that is Melts 420. I really don't understand why people hated this so much. I've had zero issues with it. It is very powdery and you do get fallout, but I'm used to that. So if you do your face first, it's not a big deal. I think this is just such an incredibly gorgeous color story. So obviously with this one, I am definitely most attracted to these grungy sort of olive greens down here, but I've also really been enjoying this side of the palette too. And I find that a lot of these shades are more work appropriate. So one of my favorite things to do recently has been to use either Hash, Blunt, or Dank over here as a crease shade and then throw in like a multi-chrome on top, especially some of Cleona's lighter multi-chromes like Chandelier or Carving, and that is a really fast, easy look for work. This just gives me very much all of the changing leaves kind of vibes. We get really gorgeous fall colors here and I always look forward to them, so this palette really just embodies that for me. So next up we've got Gemini 2, and I wasn't initially sure if I was going to pick this one up. I did pick this up a month or two after it launched, and this to me is a grungy fall dream. I initially thought that I was going to be a little bit more into this one for spring summer, but I've actually been surprised by how much I've been gravitating towards this one recently as well. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about the greens because I've said it, we know, but I've also been really enjoying the roses. I think for me, I really wanted to like mini retro, but it was just desaturated and muted enough that it didn't look great on my skin tone. This is kind of like what I wish that and the retro glam that just came out had been. It's a lot more saturated, it's a lot more pigmented, and it works a lot better on my specific coloring. So this is a dream. I think specifically for me, I really love a good berry tone. I got a phone call, which seems to be a theme when I'm filming. It's happened the last couple of times. Nobody ever calls me unless I'm trying to film. So I was talking with Gemini 2, and this basically being my favorite grungy rose tone dream. It's also really nice if I want to go like a little bit softer and prettier. I think this is one where you can take it, you know, a little bit more deep and smoky, or you can go a little bit lighter. I've been really into multi-chromes recently, so I've been using some of these shades to keep it lighter with something a little bit lighter and sparkly on the lid, and that's been like one of my go-to work looks. So for me, there's a lot to love about this one for fall and all the other seasons. So my next pick is the Pat McGrath Midnight Sun. Now this is kind of a clown purchase for me. I did get this one 40% off. I don't think I would ever pay anywhere near full price for a Pat McGrath palette, but this is a color story that has appealed to me for a very long time. And this one on sale, I want to say a couple months ago, and I was getting towards the end of my full-time paycheck and I wanted to treat myself a little bit. And so I picked up this guy, which I'm trying not to blind you, but it's really hard. This is just fallen a palette for me in so many different ways. I'm wearing this one entirely today, so I've sort of gone for the sparkly copper, which is very much all over my face, topped with Astral Solstice, and then all of the mattes and whatever this one over here is called to highlight. So this is just such a gorgeous palette. I know it doesn't have the same like special shades as some of her other palettes do, but for me this is a very wearable, versatile color story. For me, the combination of the true red, the warm browns, the copper, the yellow, and the grungy green are really just what make this. I really do enjoy the purple too. Haven't been into that one as much because it's a little bit more out of my comfort zone, especially for going into the office. But for me, I've just been really enjoying reaching for this one. I don't don't think I'm going to become a Pat McGrath collector or anything like that, but I definitely do really appreciate this palette, and I'm really glad I have it in my collection. And if you haven't reached for it in a while and you have it, this is your sign to bring it out and get some use out of it, because I feel like these are too expensive and too gorgeous to just be sitting untouched in your collection. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite palettes of all time, and the palette that really just started my love affair with grungy greens. And of course I'm going to be talking about the Gemini, the original Gemini palette. Now I have the original one. I think I got mine at the end of 2020, so I've had it for about 2 years now, and as you can tell, it has been very, very used and loved. The only shade that I don't love would be Gemini, which this is one of Melt's trash shimmers. I have most of their palettes at this point, and I don't think they have anything that is as bad as this, at least in anything that I have, and I believe they have reformulated the shimmers in the re-release version, which is great because I know that typically tends to be one of people's biggest complaints when it comes to the brand, is that their shimmers are not great. I don't think that there's really anything wrong with most of them. They might not be as impactful, but I still really enjoy them. I find Goals might not be as over-the-top shiny as brands like Clionadh or Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath, but it does give a really nice sort of glow effect to the eye, and this color is so gorgeous. I don't have anything remotely like it. I find with this palette, while it does lean a little bit more deep and smoky, you definitely can go a little bit lighter with shades like Luna or Mochi, so it's really customizable, and I just find that there's something about this palette that suits my coloring so well. I always just feel so pretty whenever I wear it, and I just feel like it's one of those things, I know it was not made for me, but it kind of feels like it was. So I have a real soft spot for this one, and I'm so glad that it's still around and more easily accessible. Whenever this one gets to a point where it's no longer performing, I will go out and replace it in a heartbeat, because for me this is such a staple in my collection. My collection has grown pretty significantly since I picked this one up, and this palette still remains a favorite, so I think that speaks to how much I love this one and my love affair for grungy greens in general, because this really was the one that started it all. So those are my 5 favorite palettes for fall so far. I did want to include an honorable mention, but I could also kind of fit into summer palettes. I did want to give a shout out to the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. For me, this sort of feels more like summer, end of summer, fall transition, but I do really enjoy sort of these darker shades, especially going into fall and winter. I think I wore some of these reds for Christmas last year, and I just went for like a monochromatic eye look, and I really enjoyed that, but I have very much been into these oranges paired with a couple of these brighter yellows, especially on my days off over the last couple of weeks. And honestly, it's been so warm here up until very recently that this still felt very, very seasonally appropriate. So that is pretty much everything that I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Feel free to let me know what palettes you've been reaching for a lot this season, and what your favorite fall palettes are out of your collection, or in general, if there's any that you don't have but are kind of on your wish list that really just scream fall, feel free to let me know. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and you want to see more project panning and general beauty content, feel free to hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like it, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!